But the problem comes from having players like Rico Lewis, who I don't think Pep has any intention of getting rid of. Now, I'd get rid of Rico Lewis. I don't think he's City standard. Manchester City potentially have a huge problem on their hands. The homegrown quota. Now, I'm going to explain to the best of my ability and as easiest as I can to you watching what that homegrown rule is. So I'm going to read a few things out and then I'm going to try and purvey it in a way that is easily understandable. So the homegrown quota was brought in so that the Premier League wasn't filled with foreign players, and that the Premier League could still provide English talent to the Premier League. So the Premier League homegrown rule dictates that a player is considered homegrown if they have been registered with any club affiliated with the Football Association or the Football Association of Wales for a continuous or non-continuous period of 3 seasons or 36 months before their 21st birthday. This means a player doesn't need to be of any specific nationality. It's about their time spent with the clubs in England or Wales before the age of 21. Now, City's problem when it comes to this is the fact that, let me just bring this up. Our homegrown player, well, there's some players missing from this for a start. So let me just mention players like Ilkay Gundogan, who we are unsure of. So the homegrown players: Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, John Stones, Rico Lewis, Nico O'Reilly, James McAtee, Oscar Bob, Callum Doyle, Jacob Wright, Mamadou Sangia. Now, there's players on this list, for example, Jacob Wright, who I know have gone to Norwich, and there's players on this list like James McAtee, who are pretty much 90% outers. That depends on the price. I mean, apparently City are only asking for 20 million euros for James McAtee, which is an absolute steal. Leverkusen have pulled out of that and said that they're not interested for that price. Are they stupid? There's players like John Stones, who I'd say John Stones, if he could stay fit, then I'd keep him, but he ain't gonna stay fit, is he? And then you've got the likes of Jack Grealish, who is 99% out of the door, with Everton looking and Newcastle looking. The non-homegrown players: Erling Haaland, Rodri, Ruben Diaz, Yossel Vardiol, Jeremy Doku, Bernardo Silva, Mateus Nunes, Savinho, Edison, Stefan Ortega, Manuel Akanji, Nathan Ake, Claudio Echeverri, Ryan Cherky, Tiani Reinders, Ryan Aitnori, Omar Marmoush, Nico Gonzalez, Abdelkadir Kusanov, and Vita Hayes. Now, this list contains 20 non-homegrown players, and there's a rule that there can be a maximum of 17 non-homegrown players registered in the squad, or to be included in the matchday squad. So if we have a look here, and we need to get rid of 3 of those players, then this is where the problem comes in. Now, there is exclusions to this list as well. Vita Hayes being under 21, Claudio Echeverri being under 21. Who else? That's it. So this means that because of the size of the squad and the amount of non-homegrown players and the amount of homegrown players there is going to be plenty of players not even included in the matchday squad, not even able to come to the games, and will have to sit at home and sit out. The solution is quite simple, really. The solution is to sell some non-homegrown players and bring homegrown players in. This is where we get choked out of possible transfers due to the costing. So Tino Livramento being one of them, homegrown player, but pricey. Morgan Gibbs-White, I'd say we wouldn't need another midfielder, but Morgan Gibbs-White is homegrown. So that means we go out, get a non-homegrown player such as Martim Fernandez from Porto, and then we fill the midfield with a homegrown player such as a Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, if we go back to this list, you'll say, yeah, but we got plenty here. We got the Nico O'Reillys, we've got the James McAtees if he stays, the Oscar Bobs. That's fine. That's fine if you want to challenge for a league and not win the league. So this is the problem. Do you make do with the squad for example, Matheus Nunes at right back, and then fill in the midfield with someone like a Phil Foden, who is very good, by the way. He's very good. But the problem comes from having players like Rico Lewis, who I don't think Pep has any intention of getting rid of. Now, I'd get rid of Rico Lewis. I don't think he's City standard. I think he's the standard of a Forest. I think he'd be fit perfectly in with Forest. James McAtee, he's been given his chances, and to be fair, when he's been given his chances, he has done well. Pep's given him a few chances, maybe not a run of games, which I think McAtee would need. So he does really need to move on. Dortmund would be perfect for McAtee, by the way. Yeah, so it's all about filling the squad with players that comply with the rules, but at the same time are good enough to win the league, win the Champions League, win FA Cups, this and that. So we didn't see much of Vita Hayes last season, but I'm not sure if he will actually comply by the time he is 21, because that's something else that needs to be taken into consideration. Martim Fernandez is 19. If we wanted him to be homegrown by the time he reached the age of 21, he would have had to come in last season. So now, if he came in and he did his 2 seasons and he was class, he was like absolutely phenomenal, it doesn't matter by the time 2 years' time comes around, because he wouldn't be homegrown. So if we wanted to squeeze him into the squad, we'd have to find alternative options, alternative homegrown options for that midfield. That's 2 seasons away, fair enough. But what if we get a winning squad and we like the squad, and we need to worry about that? At that point, other clubs will then know, and we'll be in the same situation, and we'll be choked in transfers again. So we'd have to pay that high English tax. Now, but for me, the perfect resolution to this is a Livramento. The plan B resolution to this would be an Ola Aina. Now, you still have the problem where you've got too many players. So you are going to have players that are sitting out. Now, for me, players like Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan, Manuel Akanji. I don't know why Nathan Ake is on there, because I'm pretty sure Nathan Ake is homegrown, actually. Yeah, so you're going to have players that are going to need game time that we can't give game time to, because they're not even going to be on the bench. So even if you thought, that player could do well for us at the end of that game, they're not even going to be on that bench. Don't forget, we've got academy players that need game time. They're going to have to come into the squad at some point. Nico O'Reilly being the best example of that. Bags of talent. He's going to be a phenomenal player in 2 years' time. Are we going to be able to give him the time? Now, back onto the homegrown quota, there's a simple solution, and that simple solution is to pay for Livramento. What is not a simple solution is getting rid of these players who we don't necessarily want to get rid of. I mean, let's be fair. We got Edison there, right? Edison is a phenomenal goalkeeper. I don't want to lose Edison. Could you bring Trafford in and supply an extra spot towards that homegrown quota? Yes, you could. You could do that, but the problem is he'd have to be number 1. He's not good enough to be number 1. Would he win his Champions League? Would he win his Premier League? No, I don't think he would. He's a good player, and until it happens, you don't know, do you? But as far as the homegrown quota goes, I think the easiest option is Livramento. Pay the money for Livramento. Worry about the rest after. There's players that are going to leave. Who they are, I don't know. Get in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.